If you're somebody who's been watching my videos pretty regularly, you've probably noticed that I've never really had any matches where it's like, oh no, I actually might lose this. Well, in this video, I'm going to be showcasing some matches that I played that I absolutely should have lost. Some of these matches I did not play well at all compared to how I normally play, but these were actually against some pretty hard teams on some pretty hard maps, and I'm going to be straightforward, I should have lost these games. However, I did one thing that completely won me the game, and it was just good judgment. I played Singularity for probably about a good year and a half, and from all my experience, I know how to properly punish teams when they do make mistakes. So the big thing I want to teach you guys right now is that even in situations where you think that, oh, this is going to be impossible, you got to have a really good mental mindset. Especially if you're on a win streak and you're going against a good team. They have a lot of pallets, they're running good perks. These guys aren't running around making a bunch of mistakes. Because as a Singularity player, the moment you allow survivors to decide the flow of the game, that's when you're going to lose. So it's up to you to make the proper decisions to reverse that. So in this video, I'm going to be going over some matches I played on extremely hard maps, and one of them was against a really good team that were just slamming out gens and they weren't complete idiots. So it was really, really hard to get downs. I'm going to be thoroughly analyzing this gameplay so that way you guys can not only learn from my mistakes, but also you guys can improve as Singularity so you don't make the same mistakes as I do. I'm hoping you guys will enjoy this video and we will jump right into the first game. So normally, Rant to Avatar is a extremely good map for Singularity, and honestly, I still think it kind of is. But I kind of went in this game knowing that, oh yeah, this is probably going to be a pretty easy game. I have never had any sort of difficult time on this map. But I had no idea that they changed I guess the way tiles and other structures generate on this map. And I was not really prepared, and especially I was going against a good team too, and I was like, oh boy. So we start off, I see someone check, I get the slipstream, and these guys are really holding those corners, and I'm like, okay. But I haven't seen anyone, so I immediately just drop the chase. She has to grab an EMP anyway, because I placed a biopod directly on top of the generator. And that's actually what I thought was the case, but I actually placed a bad biopod, and there was a little blind spot, and I don't think she realized. But we do end up spawning the Quentin right here, and he's got a dramaturgy, and it's like, okay, great. And then he makes a pallet, okay, sure. And this is my second chase. The game hasn't really gone off for that long, and they've already popped a gen. And I'm thinking, great. And so I was like, what is this, structure? I've never seen this before. I'm thinking in my head, what is this? When was this added? And I kind of forgot, oh yeah, this is a new update. And then this is something you almost never see on this map. This filler is pretty rare for this, particular area. I'm like, what on earth? And I'm like, what's going on? I see these people, they're doubling the main gen, and I go, okay, great. And they already have an EMP, and it's like, oh boy, these guys are kind of slamming edges. And then on top of that, they have a sprint, or it's not a sprint burst, sorry, they have a life. So I'm like, okay, well, this actually might be. I'm already thinking this actually might be a difficult game because this actually has some pretty decent exhaustion perks. I get a nice TP on Kate, get a pretty free hit on her. She just crossed the window without really thinking too much. And right here is just, it's just an instant down. And then I see the Quentin right here. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this Quentin is doing right here. So it's just right here, I don't need I have Rapid Brutality activated right now, so I'm 5% faster. So I was just going to walk him down, and I ended up scoring another free down on him. He was playing way too aggressive right there. He should have just been, kind of relaxing or just chilling out a bit. But he just didn't move when he saw that I downed the Kate. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I got two people downed right now. I need to take this hook right now because the other person is probably working on a gen right now. I need to get some gen regression going right now because I can tell right now that these survivors they're gen doers. Especially when you see that there's two people on a singular gen and they're working main. It's like, okay, that tells me one thing, and it's that they're coordinated. So I placed a biopod directly where Quentin is hooked. And you probably have noticed now that I have the Quentin's name censored. So this is actually a streamer that I've gone against, and they've got a decent following. But after the game, they didn't really seem all that happy, and it's just like, I don't want to deal with it. I'm going to censor their name. And this time, I'm going to censor their name properly. And like a complete idiot, I accidentally swung at... I swung at my own biopod. But I'm really struggling as Shaq right now. This person's holding perfect corners. I'm like, Okay, it's really hard to track scratch marks on this map for some reason. I do not understand why. And then I just barely missed the bio or the slipstream for a second. I think I still get this hit. Yeah, I still get the hit, which is fine. They don't drop the shack pallet, and it's like, oh boy, this person kind of knows what they're doing. I'm trying to go for like I'm trying to clip their hitbox, or known as like a hook swing. If you've watched my previous video, but I'm trying to clip their hitbox, and they're making it really difficult to do so. This person's very patient, and I don't get that hit, and I'm like, okay. I'm starting to throw the game chasing this person. I unfortunately couldn't get the TP off, and they just send it to the shack pallet and they get it dropped. And so it's like, okay, I'm wasting way too much time, and I get punished for it. They pop main. Main is a really, really easy gen to defend as long as you actually put the time in to defend it a little bit. So they should have never popped main against me. And I really only know where two survivors are, and I look at the cow tree gen, and they're doubling it. So these guys are just slamming gens. They're not kidding around with gens. I'm like, okay, great. I kind of need to tunnel this game because otherwise, if I don't get somebody out immediately, it's going to be a good game. So I got a really nasty TP on Quentin, and he didn't drop that pallet. And I'm like, okay, why would you would drop that pallet? But I'm like, oh, he's greeting it. I'm like, okay, that's got to be a dead art. And I was right. It was a dead art. Pretty obvious when you put the pieces together. So when I hook this guy, I kind of need to camp this guy. This is my second hook, and they just popped their third gen. So I'm like, okay, all the gens are right next to me, and I have biopods on all of them besides one. Okay, so the survivor's next course of action, they're probably going to try and go for this save. So I need to camp this guy. I have control on the gens. Okay, that's fine. So my only source of pressure is this Quentin. I need this guy to stay on hook as long as possible. Frankly, I would prefer that he dies on hook. So I see the Michaela. She's kind of just ratting around, and I decide not to chase this. Or a TP onto her, sorry. Because if I TP onto her and get the hit, it's going to give him a free... it's going to give him a free unhook. And Michaela still has a bunch of pallets that she can run to. So I'm not going to TP to her. I want to force a trade. It's either I get two of them come to get me on hook, or one guy trades and then I just immediately tunnel. Either way, you're going to be tunneling. But these guys are hitting generators so hard that I can't really go for the Quentin immediately. So I try to get a bunch of slipstreams. I'm just kicking people off of gens. Slipstreaming them, kicking them off of gens. And I pretend to TP just to make them panic a little bit. And kind of get them the mindset on whether I'm going to TP or not. So I'm going to get that painters, and then the first thing I'm doing is when I put V on the hook is I'm immediately going for the Quentin. I'm looking for him. And so I see Killer Instinct over by the LT balls. I'm like, okay, this is probably where they're resetting. This is a terrible spot to reset. I see one person rotating. I'm trying to place a camera on that gen as I go along, but the cam spots for this area is not really that good. LT balls for the most part are pretty good for Singularity, but I was honestly not really playing as well, and then Quentin was just winning a bunch of 50s. He won a decent amount of 50s right here. I mean, here, like, you're going to be dead regardless. But then I see another person, Quentin fumbled for not even a second, and that costed him a down. And so I see this other person, they're trying to take a hit, and that's when they started throwing. I'm like, okay, I don't know if these guys are in a 4-man or... I don't think they are, but yeah, I guess I scored a pretty easy down on V, and I had 2 people occupied, and they still popped that gen, which is insane. These guys just sit on gens. I'm like, okay. So it's a 3v1 now, which is going to make my life significantly easier, but these are also not really the greatest gens either, because I still have to travel quite a ways. As I say, I don't know what Michaela's doing, but it didn't matter. She had life anyway. But like with people like this, like you just want to slipstream them. If you can get a free hit, I placed a pretty bad biopod. So I just want to slipstream her, and then just check on gens. So here, I have 1 gen remaining. They pop 1 more gen. There's like no way I can defend exit gates against 3 people. So here you have to be. This is the part where you have to be super territorial. I am not going to let these guys touch gens at all. And so I know that 2 people aren't really doing anything. V was trying to go for a chain ball tech. I am going to explain chain ball tech pretty soon in a guide that I'm making soon. So I get a really nice down on V right here. But I tried to swing at the window, maybe this thing I could hit her, but she scooted away the last second, so I didn't get it. So The big thing I need to keep is gen regression. I need to start using pain reses. I need to keep a lot of pressure on these guys. I can't really just horse around and I still magically 4K. Like you have to make survivors work for it. So here I'm just resetting this this camera spot. These camera spots are terrible. These are not the greatest camera spots because they can just like they're not really any threat. The moment I try to TP onto them, they can just move away. I get a really nice TP on Michaela right here. Score a pretty free hit, and she's running into a dead zone, which is pretty bad for her. And I score a very easy down on her because she just simply didn't know where to run. And this is where Surge really shines right here, because when people make mistakes and they die right next to a gen, I mean, not only does it give you information, it also gives you regression. Surge it really helped this game, I must say. And also the range add-on. I'm like, what is this loop right here? It's like a little like weird like rock hill. I've never seen it before. I get a little nice TP on Kate, but I TP'd late, so she was able to react. But here it's like, okay, I can't really mind game this, so usually with these tiles like that where the survivors aren't really playing all that bad, you've got to immediately make them drop that pallet. So now I'm like trying to figure out like, what is this tile right here? And I get a nice little mind game on Kate. She just panicked. She was just panicking and she's panic vaulted, got them down. Immediately checking on gens. Check on your gens, make sure what they're doing. And if these guys aren't like double stacking on a gen right now and it's like kind of getting close, then you can go for the pain res. So I got a pretty decent amount of pressure on these guys right now, and I've kind of already figured that I've already figured I've won this game. I just gotta like make sure that I keep the pressure up and just don't really allow them to pull for free until they just immediately pulled, which I didn't really expect them to do. I wasn't exactly sure so like what they were doing, but whatever. They're not gens, so I don't care. I can defend these gens pretty easily because it's a 3 versus 1. If this was a 4 versus 1, I would have been screwed. Because dealing with one extra survivor means that if one person and another person just solo a generator and then the other two double another gen, that is considerably harder. And so here, like, these guys are dropping all these pallets. The resources are becoming much thinner. And right here, I really needed to get this Couch Tree pallet out of the way, because that's really like the only like safe loop they have against me, and Mikhail just gave that to me for free. So now this entire area is just completely dead, and she has the life again. It's like, okay, need to check on gens. Okay, V is back on the gen. You can't give these people any room to get these gens done. So I think I go for the Kate. Yeah, she messed up again. So I get a pretty free down on Kate right here, and I got regression on that gen that V was working on. I spot the V. I'm immediately going for her. You have to slug a lot in these type of situations as well, especially like against like heavy time gen duels. Like you have to slug a lot. She plays pretty well right here, and also I'm pretty sure this was the other streamer's friend right here because they were also playing pretty well. But Shaq, like if they play it well, it's kind of hard to play. And like I was pretty tired right here, and I was just not able to react to these TPs. My life would have been so much easier if I was actually able to react to these TPs, but I don't know. I got grandpa reaction or something. I'm getting old, chat. But here, I don't know what Michaela was doing. I think she had that new V perk. I'm not sure exactly what she was doing, but she kind of messed up big time right here. I mean, it was kind of already over anyway, and V takes a hit, and I don't care. But V is down a hook. And so I'm like, if I can get this player out of the way, my life is going to be so much easier. And so she gets the pick right here, and it's like, okay, that's fine. So normally this would be a really, really good time to go after the Kate just to spread extra pressure, but she's injured, and I have someone else who's dead on hook in a 3 versus 1. So if I kill this V right now, it's practically game over. I can commit to anyone right now, and as long as I don't get looped for 80 seconds, I should be fine. But it's Rancid Abattoir, and these guys dropped all the really good pallets. So realistically, they don't really have a lot of pressure other than maybe like main, like life at main or life at like a jungle gym, like long wall. That's like the only like way they can really loot me for a long period of time. But just as long as I play patient, these guys can't really do anything. So I mean, it's a 2 versus 1 at this point, and I know that they're not working in any gens. So I've already known that I won. And there's some really big things to note right here. So I was overcommitting to a few chases, really, really bad chases. I placed some really bad biopods, which allowed them to work a gen in a blind spot, so I couldn't like directly slipstream, so I had to waste time going back to them. Because it's kind of different. It's kind of tricky sometimes because it's even like the slightest like little branch coming out of a tree will completely prevent you from being able to get a slipstream on someone. It will completely block your view. I don't understand it, but it's just I can't really tell you like, oh yeah, this branch right here will block. Oh, this branch won't block it. You just have to play Singularity and kind of figure it out yourself, or just watch my videos. Subscribe, by the way, if you haven't already. So now I'm looking for the last person. I was scoping around the camera seeing if I could find him, but I did see crows flying out in the distance, so I knew that they were over there. And yeah, that is GG's. And again, I will say, I don't know what it is with this map, but I just cannot track people. Of course, the hatch spawns right behind the K, and she's teabagging like she did anything good. Father Campbell's Chapel. Now this map for me is really 50-50. The outside, I love. It has great camera placements. The gens are usually pretty easy to defend. But the main building sucks. It is probably one of the hardest main buildings to deal with for Singularity. Unless if it's Larry's, then the entirety of it is hard. But here I had a pretty rough spawn. So I spawn, usually on this map you're either going to spawn Carnival or you're going to spawn Shack side. So you can pretty quickly place all your gens, but I kind of spawned like in the middle, which is a really, really weird spawn. And I had to waste a bunch of time just placing biopods. I had to walk over to Carnival, place my biopods in good positions, and then walk all the way back to Shack side, which is where all the survivors spawn realistically. And I didn't even have time to place a biopod over my main. And here they have a 4-gen right here, which 4-gens suck. They are extremely hard to defend because usually you're going to have to place, unless you can get like a really good overhead biopod placement, you're not going to really be able to properly defend 4-gens. So this Zero has a long wall jungle gym. It's like, okay, great. And I see this tile. I'm like, what is this? Like, again, this is like my first time ever like playing on this new update, of course. This is my first time like playing on this map with like the new update. I had no idea they were changing the way tiles were going to spawn on different maps. And so I don't know why I swung for that. I should have just walked him down and vaulted the window. I would have been able to down him. But I'm like, did this guy just like sprint burst away, or sorry, life away? And yeah, I'm pretty sure he had life. And I am kind of just throwing in this chase right here. And I kind of underestimated this guy a bit. Like, he actually kind of knew what he was doing, and then I don't know what he was doing right here. And already, they've already popped 1 gen. I'm like, okay, great. Well, I'm going to have to get a pain res because I don't really know where everybody is. I did a little quick round, I did a quick little scan to see what people were doing. They popped another gen, of course. I didn't have a pain res, of course. It's like, okay, great. One of the big reasons why I don't like running pain res, but it's also kind of a necessity at the same time. Here I got a really good TP on Laura. I kind of accidentally, I didn't even mean to place that camera like perfectly at the EMP station. Oh, and by the way, I have this girl's name censored because this person, I know them and they're a shithead. And they go down in 10 seconds and they DC. But from prior experiences I've had with this person, almost every single game I play with them, they just immediately DC and then they go and talk a bunch of shit. And honestly, it's like, it sincerely blows my mind how you will play this game solo and then you go against a killer that you don't like or you didn't have a good chase, so you just immediately DC just out of pure spite. And that really, I just don't understand. Like, how do you enjoy the game? I mean, I get if it's like Crazy or something. Crazy is busted right now as I'm recording this video. I get that, but like this killer's been out for quite some time now, and you just completely ruin the match for the rest of your teammates, and that is one of the things that really frustrates me about people. And that's the other thing too, is that these guys had a really good start against me, and it's pretty rare for survivors to get this good of a start against me. And frankly, they could have actually maybe had a chance to win if they just kept slamming out gens. And like, really, like on this map, you don't really have to do a lot. I mean, you have the main building. Main building itself will waste a lot of time against me in general. On top of that, you have a bunch of pallets, and you had all those filler pallets that were connected to windows. So it would have been really, really hard to get good teleportations off. But instead, you just get mad because you went down in 10 seconds, which, frankly, they could have lived for maybe a minute if they actually played well. But no, they just ran away from the pallet and just immediately went down and DC'd. But here at this point now, Like, this game's already pretty over. Like, the moment one guy DCs at the start of the game, like, it's pretty much game over. So, like, here, like, I don't even need to go against the bot. Like, I don't even need to, like, go after the bot. Like, the bot's not really going to do a whole lot anyway. These guys are healing right in front of biopods anyway. By the way, if you're going to heal, don't do it in front of biopods. Please. I see so many people do this. I don't know why they do this, but people are just so lazy with their reset spots. Because if you're going to heal somebody, you want to be in an area where I can't see you. But people just, they unhook and they just immediately heal, like, without really ever thinking about it. And Singularity is also one of those killers where you can't really, like, you can't turn your brain off and you'll still out them. People really forget the lethality of Singularity. I mean, he kind of has the same principle as, like, a Blight, for example. Because, like, a good Blight, you're not going to be able to loop him that long. And I will say this right now, Singularity is probably the strongest A-tier killer. Actually, not probably, he is the strongest A-tier killer. I think he is better than Ghoul, he's better than, like, Plague, for example. And I'll back it up right now. Let's go scream right now. I'll back it up right now. And yeah, again, like, this match itself wasn't really the greatest in terms of a showcase, but like this team was actually like slamming gens. Like, I had a pretty bad start here. I mean, it definitely would have been a little bit harder if Laura didn't immediately DC, but one of the biggest tips I have for somebody who plays on this, because either way, like, when you get this map, it's going to be busted. It's going to be frustrating. This map is extremely frustrating, and I get frustrated myself when I play on this map. So, the big thing with this map is you can still do well on this map, but you have a really good mindset about it. And one of the things I tell people is you gotta get rid of the pallets, and you have to really be picky about your chases. Hawkins, my beloved. Legitimately, I cannot escape this map. I get this map almost every single time I play this godforsaken killer. So, if you guys haven't seen my last video, I've covered this map like a couple of times, I'm pretty sure, but well, here we are again. So, against this team, these guys were actually slamming out gens as well. And normally this is a ridiculously hard map. Well, actually, yeah, this is a ridiculously hard map for Singularity, but the big thing with this map, though, is you're not going to be able to, like, you're not going to be able to place, like, observation biopods. You're not going to be able to, like, properly, like, punish people for rotating, like how you're able to with, like, Haddonfield, for example, where you can place all your biopods, like, within, like, a particular area. And, like, here, they've already popped a gen. So, I mean, it tells me that they were tripling, so I'm like, okay, they're all over here. So, that gen was way too fast. And I'm pretty sure these guys were also running, like, heavy, like, toolbox and, like, gen speed builds. So, like, things like that will, of course, like, happen. And that's just kind of, like, the downside of running Corrupt. And that, I will say, like, I'm pretty confident in Singularity, so I don't feel like I need to run Corrupt. But, however, like, I would have definitely ran it if I knew, like, what these guys were bringing and the map I was going to be getting. But here, you just have to continuously play as aggressive as you can. And then, for some reason, I should have got that down on the Sheva, but I just got auto-aimed because she just got that speed boost at last second. The game couldn't register my swing. And here, she tried to palace stun me when I was in overclock mode, which is never, ever going to work. So it tells me, like, okay, these guys are going to be slamming out gens, and this is a terrible map right here. So, on this map, there is no way where you can play nice, not tunnel anybody, and still get a 4K. Like, the only way you can win on this map without tunneling is if the survivors present themselves in a little, like, Christmas gift basket. And it's like, here, go ahead and 4K us. Like, it's not gonna happen, alright? Like, I'm sorry to say, but you're gonna have to tunnel on this map. And you're gonna have to, you're most likely gonna have to camp on this map, which is, like, these guys are popped to gen before I even gotten, like, my first, like, actual chase. I'm like, okay, great. So, here I was trying to, like, figure out what the survivors were doing, and I thought they were gonna be, like, on that top gen right there. But they were actually going for pull. I didn't even see them. I still have no idea where they came from. But yeah, they popped that top gen right there, and here it's like, okay, I need to tunnel extremely badly on here. Like, this is my only pressure right here, is keeping this Sheva on hook. And if you can, try and get all the safe pals out of the way, but I mean, she messed up right there, and I was able to get a pretty easy down on her. So immediately I'm going to put her all the way in the back of the map, because, like, from where all the survivors are, putting her over by portal room is going to be not only really hard for them, but they're going to have to rotate. So if I just sit like over here, like at this point I want to force out either 2 people to come over and get this unhooked so nobody goes down, or somebody trades for it. So then I slug 1 person and I immediately go for the tunnel. Either way, in this situation, I'm going to be immediately going for the Shiva. And meanwhile, while I'm camping the Shiva, I'm checking on my gens. I want to know exactly what these survivors are doing. I see Ada rotating over there. She grabbed an EMP, and I see this David over here. So 2 people not working gens. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want. I don't really care if they get the EMP off or whatnot. As long as they're not working gens. So these guys are like doubling gens and whatnot. This would be a terrible predicament. Like, these guys honestly should have just left Shiva to die and just work gens. That would have been so much worse for me, but here I was able to build up a bunch of pressure just solely because I was just camping this person. They didn't want to leave this Shiva to die. So Ada comes for the unhook, and that's fine. That's exactly what I wanted, is for somebody to trade for the hook and I get to down them, because now I'm going to be going for the Shiva. And they either have to go take a hit for Shiva, or they pick up the Ada. So either way, there's going to be probably... there's 3 people not doing stuff, at least, right now. And I got it extremely fast down on Shiva. And if you guys notice, she popped a stick tick. So that it automatically removes Decisive Strike, and I can just immediately pick her up for free. And these guys are also trying to take hits, so... At this point, like, these guys were so desperate to try and keep the Shiva alive, but it's like, at this point, they should have just let her die. And I doubt these guys were on comms anyway, and so that's the beauty of Singularity, though, is like, if you're not on comms, Singularity is just going to absolutely just roll you. And this team, just because I camped the Shiva and tunneled her out immediately, this team was just super uncoordinated. I see David right here, and he's just working a generator there. So already, like, right here, like, from a really, really bad start, I still will prevail from this match. And if really, it's just making good decisions. And it's just whether or not, oh, should I tunnel this? Should I camp this? Because for the most part, like, you can hook people and almost immediately go after another person right here. You can play I play pretty aggressive with Singularity, but like, when I play public matches, like, I usually try to avoid tunneling. I slug a lot, but I usually try to avoid, like, tunneling if I can, because it kind of extends the game a bit and I get more blood points. It's like, the moment they popped that first gen, before I even found somebody, just told me, okay, you know, I gotta sweat this game, and especially, like, on a bad map. Like, because that's kind of the mindset you need to have as well. If you're on a really bad map, and these guys are slamming out gens, and they're pre-dropping, like, you kind of need to, like, figure out exactly how you should play this game. Because, like, again, here, this is a terrible map for me, and this is a map where I could easily lose. And they immediately popped a gen within, like, the first, like, 40 seconds of the match or whatever. It was extremely quick, and it's like, okay, you know, I can't mess around this game. I kind of have to, like, do something here. And yeah, that'll be it for the video. So the point of this video is I want to basically show people that nobody really is perfect. Nobody's perfect. You're not going to play perfect every single game. You're going to have hard games. You're going to make mistakes, of course, and that's kind of how it goes. It's how life goes. The big thing that you can do when you are learning Survivor or learning Killer is that just understand when you're making mistakes and then figure out how to correct them. And I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing if you want to see more content like this in the future. I've got a few big projects planned, and I'm gonna start posting a few more videos, and then I'm gonna take a little break from the just this regular type of style of content, and I'm going to focus on a Singularity guide. And yeah, this doesn't mean that I'm not going to be posting at all until I get it done, but I'm going to mostly prioritize the guide. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone.